episode 323. Hello there. So happy you decided to join and listen to my rambles, my thoughts, my theories, whatever you want to call it. I'm just glad you're here. Lots is happening in my life, and some of it I will hopefully share with you soon. But today let's talk about how over what. People tell me frequently that I'm very disciplined. I interpret it as admiration. At least that is my assumption from the tone of their voice and their follow-up questions like, how do you do it? When I was younger, it wasn't meant as a compliment. It was a critique and a way of telling me that I am too rigid and inflexible. So I always had a bit of a conflicted relationship with my routines, which, to be honest, make me feel highly comfortable. I grew up with my grandparents, and they had a very routine-driven life. My grandmother, for example, would raise the same time every morning and had the same ritual that consisted of time outside combined with exercise, cleaning up the dishes from the dinner the night before, and making coffee. All before anyone else would get up. Dinner was at the same time every night. Everyone sat at the same spot around the table, and at 8 p.m. my grandfather would watch the evening news. I suppose that is where a routine-oriented life was already ingrained into me. To this day, I function best with routines. Mentally, I feel secure and safe, more in control and happier. But also physically, my body adjusts and functions best when I stick to my times. My routines keep me in check. They give me sense of order and orientation to the daily chaos that can sometimes take over, seemingly unnoticeable. For example, I go to the gym every day after work, except when I rest. The rest days are the exception, and I decide on them spontaneously. When my body feels tired and my energy is low, then I know to take a day off. Otherwise, I am in the gym. This routine drives my decisions at work. I will leave around the same time every day. Even when I have more work to do or I'm in a meeting, I pack up and I leave. Because working out is a key priority in my life. If I need to log on later at night or start earlier the next day to get my work done, then I'll do that. But I won't allow hardly anything to interfere with my gym time. You can ask my friends, they know. As a young adult, my friends often mocked me for my routines. I was in boarding school for 2 years, and my roommates always laughed at me when I sat down to eat my dinner at the same time every evening. And when I went to bed at 10, they would roll their eyes. Today still, friends wonder when they send me a message at 10:45 p.m. and they don't get an answer. The next day, when I tell them I'm asleep, they have a hard time believing it. When they urge me to have dessert and I say no, they're almost disappointed. But now these days, most of my friends understand, and I care less if they don't. The peer pressure of trying to fit in is gone. And I also have the certainty that my routines bring the results I want, so I don't question myself anymore like I did when I was younger. Back then, I sometimes wondered if somehow I was missing out on living life more fully. Maybe I needed to be a bit more rebellious and less of a rule follower. And I experimented and slacked off in some areas of my life. I was less disciplined with my sleep and eating habits for a while. I tried to be more spontaneous with my time instead of following my plans. But after a while, I would always find myself coming back to my rhythm. I felt happier and healthier that way. Today, while I don't doubt the effectiveness of my routines anymore, I'm conscious of them when making decisions. Routines can impose some rigidity on our life that can appear to keep us locked in and hesitant to be spontaneous and try new things. I often run into situations where I'm torn between trying something new and sticking to my routine. My routines do not always win. There are times I skip the gym for a spontaneous dinner, and I may even have the dessert. But I'm very deliberate about those exceptions. I want to take the time on this and some upcoming episodes to really dive into the nitty-gritty of habits and routines. I've made peace with them. I acknowledge that I need them, and I'm not afraid to hide them. If you have noticed over the last few years, what I've been living by most of my life has been confirmed by a lot of people. You see more and more books and articles pop up that harp on the importance of solid routines. Sports teams and superstars hire coaches to help them with their routines. And more research supports that routines are critical in establishing good habits. Habits and routines are important if we want to be successful in life. And this is being discovered by an increasing number of people. I listen to a lot of interviews on podcasts. Authors, singers, artists, teachers, investors, scientists, athletes, and regular folks that lead amazing lives. And I have discovered that most of them adhere to some form of schedule in their life that helps them stay focused. It can be as simple as eating the same thing for breakfast in the morning. Increasingly, podcast hosts want to squeeze out from their guests what it is that makes them successful. And I find that a big portion can be attributed to the strict habits and rituals of those people. Knowledge like this is empowering. It gives us, the ordinary people, permission to say, let me try this. What could be possible for me if I meditated every morning, for example? Or if I practice my instrument every day instead of just once per week? Television is good at inducing drama, building tension, and quickly showing the most amazing outcome. Television is not good at digging deep and discovering the sometimes very uneventful, hard work that goes into becoming one of the best. As a consequence, if all we see is the glamorous end result, we are left wondering what it is we need to do to look or to be the same. This leads to a constant worry about the what. What should I eat? What exercises should I do? What should I write about? What brand of product should I get? The more important question is how, and podcast interviews, if they are good, have opened the door for that. Combined, of course, with an ever increasing number of books written on self-help. According to data from the website Goodreads, which tracks reading progress and allows for readers to share book reviews, a tool that I also use, self-help books take a decent share of the bestsellers in bookstores, and sales have been on the rise. At the Washington, D.C. Public Library, for example, 11 of the top 50 titles with the highest circulation are self-help. We need to turn to the how to get to our goals. How is about the framework and the system that you will use. How will you go about your goal, your work, your day? How questions what your routine will look like. I'm not perfect. Believe it or not. There are areas in my life where I have not been successful in establishing a routine. But I can say that almost every major undertaking in my life has always started with the question of how, before I worried about anything else. How will I fit climbing into my already busy schedule, for example? The how will immediately bring clarity, whether or not my goal is even feasible. How answers questions like when, how often, where, with whom. It's all about the process. When I did worry about the what, I often got derailed. The what is buying a bunch of climbing gear and clothes that later, after I actually started climbing, found to be completely inappropriate. Cotton shirts, for example. They looked cool. They had nice logos on them, but they were not meant for absorbing sweat and drying quickly while smacked against a wall for hours in the heat. The how is much more important than the what in the beginning when you're first trying to establish a routine. How answers the deeper questions. What stays on the surface? What is quickly satisfied by buying clothes, food, and a gym membership? But how will get the work done? When you are not getting anywhere with your goals, ask yourself, how am I going about it? What here is not working? What is my approach and how does it need to change? Discipline is a how. With any habit or routine, we need discipline. My coworkers and friends are correct when they observe me. It takes a lot of discipline, which I don't have as much as they think I do. And tomorrow I will share a tool of discipline with you. Many people don't realize that discipline can be learned. They check it off as something they don't have. And thinking that they don't have it, they don't even try. I hear it in their comments. Janine, I wish I was as disciplined as you. Discipline is a behavior, just like smiling, saying thank you, and opening the door for someone. It can be learned. And it's required if we want to adopt a new routine, which in turn will help us accomplish an important goal. Just because I grew up maybe a little bit more structured than others doesn't mean I'm disciplined. The temptations of this modern world are ever increasing. Here's a true fact, just as a sideline. I never crave fast food. I attribute it to the fact that I didn't grow up with it. But I am certain that I could acquire a taste if I ate it more frequently, and then it might be harder to resist. Here's my point. Routines set boundaries that we need more than ever. Food is abundant, and so is entertainment. Drugs, alcohol, medicine, gambling. The world is full of distraction that pulls us away from living a conscious and purposeful life. We all need discipline, unless we live somewhere in the middle of the woods without internet connection and electricity. Routines, habits, and rituals are the path. They are the how. They are the system and the process that will get us there. And the more we are ingrained into our routines, the less discipline we need to exert. So tune in tomorrow and I will share one of the most effective tools that helped me stay disciplined. Much love. Talk to you soon.